guys, welcome to my channel where I talk about Hey guys, Tay here, and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things confidence, relationships, and healthy lifestyle. Please subscribe to my channel and click that bell to be notified every time I upload, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So let's just get into it, okay? Because this is ghetto, okay? When it comes to personal growth, transformation, personal development, that realm, we often think about the benefits of everything that comes with it. And while there are many, one of the things that I realized on my own personal development journey is that while it's a great process, it will disguise itself as an identity crisis. And if you're not careful, you will lose your mind. Once that clicked for me, it was a lot easier for me to not easy, okay? It was easier for me to accept challenges along my journey because I realized that my old identity and my new identity were literally at war with each other. And this is a personal development channel, so it only makes sense for me to be vulnerable here, right? So to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about is, when I first decided to start my YouTube channel, it was 2016. That was 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory, growing up it was weird because I was in a lot of leadership roles and I feel like I was visible when I had to be visible, but at the same time I was very invisible. I don't really know of another way to explain it for it to make sense, but like I was visible, but somehow I managed to fly under the radar in a lot of ways. A lot of what I had going on just wasn't paid attention to, so I was able to be invisible. And so when I decided that I wanted to start a YouTube channel all the way back in 2016, posted videos here, I posted videos there, even up until pretty much now, I've just been very sporadic in my upload schedule. And it's not even just with YouTube, even on Instagram or just in general. If I was doing something that was getting a little bit of attention or caused me to like be visible, once I started to gain momentum into something, I would pull back and then I would just disappear off the face of the planet. I didn't really understand what was going on, but I recognized the pattern of me kind of peeking out, or from around the corner, and then when people would kind of see me or when I felt like I was being visible, then I would just like pull away. I do think that I belong on YouTube and I have a lot to offer on YouTube. It was still very hard for me to commit because I felt like if I got too far on YouTube or if I built an audience that was like too big, I felt like I would be almost too far gone to cling back onto my security blanket of being invisible. While I wanted to build my YouTube channel, it was in direct conflict with my identity because my identity was being invisible. YouTube requires you to be visible. And so I hope that you guys can see the correlation that I'm talking about. Still, in some ways, for me, is kind of uncomfortable because, like I said earlier, my old identity that I'm trying to get away from and my new identity are at war. And the problem is my old identity has leverage because I'm more familiar with my old identity. That's why we self-sabotage and we start things and we don't finish them, because your identity may not be being invisible, but it's something. You have an identity and something, and when we commit to growing and to personal development, that's always going to threaten our old identity. What sucks the most is that all of this stuff is subconscious and it takes so much energy and searching to get down to the bottom of this kind of stuff, because it doesn't just fill up to the surface. Like, we have to dig for these kinds of answers. If not, we end up hindering our own growth. So how do we set ourselves up for success mentally whenever we're embarking on a new journey to grow and our current identity is being threatened? So number one, I try to remind myself as much as possible that growth is not pretty. It's very messy. It's ghetto, okay? I'm really, really big on affirmations, and I think that the more I say this to myself, the more it absorbs in my spirit, the easier it is for me to accept the discomfort that comes with growth. Second thing that I want all of us to absorb is that essentially our old identity is dying, and whenever something dies, we grieve it. Even though this new version, this ideal version of you is a better version of you, it's still difficult to watch something die. So we have to be patient with ourselves and give ourselves time to grieve the old version of us, because even if the current version of you don't like that version, it still served a purpose. For example, going back to my example of my old identity being rooted in invisibility, that invisibility, while I didn't like that and I don't want that, it still served a purpose for me, because it kept me away from criticism. It protected me from rejection, protected me from being a target or feeling exposed in some weird way. And so, like I said, even though I don't want to be that person, it still protected me. At the very minimum, your old identity taught you something. So give yourself time to grieve that old person, so the transition of you welcoming the new version of you can be as seamless as possible. Third thing that I'll say that's helped me is connecting to God, because this really is a bumpy ride. Like I said before, it's so easy for us to think about all of the benefits that come with being the new and improved version, and that's true, but living in it in real time and actually being in the trenches, actually day in, day out, being committed to being a better person is the scariest, most uncertain process we'll probably ever experience. It's really important that we connect to our supernatural power, because there are going to be so many things during this process that happen, that don't happen, that we don't have control over. And if we don't have that spiritual connection to God, then we will lose our minds. Seems like the closer I get to God, the more uncertain my life becomes, but the more peace I have. It's the weirdest thing, but it's the absolute truth. And if you really are committed to being a better person and leveling up and all of that good stuff, you have to have something bigger than you that's backing you, because if not, you're either going to lose your mind or you'll give up. And you don't want that, because we only get one life and we want to live it to our best ability. So definitely connect to God. Also, get into therapy. Either get into therapy or get a life coach, because with a coach or with a therapist, you're going to shorten your learning curve by like a million. It's so important to have that professional pair of objective ears that can really coach you through this process and tell it like it is. And because when it's our stuff, we're too close to it, and it's, even if we have the best intentions, it's still very difficult for us to be objective when it comes to our own stuff, because we're emotionally tied to it. Telling you, as a life coach and having a life coach, it will make your life, it'll just make your life so much easier. I really can't even stress the importance of having that accountability partner. The bonus tip that I'll say is, once you develop the habit of reminding yourself that growth is ugly, you've gone through the process of grieving the old version of you, and you've connected to your spiritual source, God, and then you hire a life coach or a therapist and you're on your way, just prepare to be blown away beyond your wildest dreams, because there are so many things that I'm struggling with right now. As I talk to this camera, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff. On the flip side, there are so many things that I've overcome, you guys. Things that I've struggled with pretty much my entire life. Things I never, ever in a million years thought that I could overcome. And I'm on the other side of those things. And that's where I pull my strength from as well, is looking at those things that I've been through. And now that I'm here, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I didn't give up or I didn't stop. And as far as what I'm going through right now, I know that at some point in the future, I'm going to be able to look back on what I'm going through now and be like, damn, I really got through that. So be prepared to be blown away with yourself and how capable you are of getting through stuff you just never thought you would be able to. Be patient with yourself this week. Be patient with yourself all the time. Be sure to check out my other videos. Yeah.